Hey folks, BlackCross here, and I figured today I'd do a quick little review on The Last Guardian. For those that don't know, The Last Guardian was made by the same developers who's done such iconic games such as Ico as well as Shadow of the Colossus. Both games are really good, and The Last Guardian is no exception. It is also really good. However though, I wanted to talk about it mostly because I found the game to be as charming and wonderful as it was annoying and painstaking. Because the game itself is fine, It has no major issues that I don't think needs to be addressed, although maybe a few camera angles perhaps, maybe even a few character model configuring and stuff like that. But I think the biggest contributor to why the game functions the way it does is because of the main focus, the Guardian itself, which I have referred to as Trico because the main character, the boy itself, keeps calling it Trico. So I keep thinking of Trico even though I keep thinking of the Pokemon Trico. So I don't know why, but I just do. And I'm so hesitant about calling it Trico, even though the creature just sounds just as bad, so I'm just going to refer to it as Trico as well. But it's one of those things where it's like, the game's good. Like, the game's really good, but I found the game to be somewhat annoying, somewhat annoying. And here's why I say it's such as annoying. It's not like Ico, where on occasion you do fight the monsters that try to either stop you or take the girl from you. It's not like Shadow of the Colossus where you ride on the horse and you traverse the land and scour the mountains and stuff like that to fight the Colossus and stuff like that. If nothing else, this game barely has any fighting at all. In fact, if I had to say, you play more of a side character or a partner or ally than you would actually be in the main character, because the main character is actually Trico. And the reason why I say that is because you as the player, you as the boy, your main objective is just to guide the creature to your destination, which is basically to get out of this prison, this cell, this whatever this fortress is. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's interesting how they built this whole fortress, and at the same time too, it's also interesting as to how the puzzles work out and stuff like that. And it's fun to solve these puzzles, because then you have to kind of follow along this kind of like almost visible roadmap of how to get to the next platform and stuff like that. If you're familiar with most platformers, like say for example Assassin's Creed or something like that, you'll notice what you need to grab or what not to grab. It's pretty noticeable. But my biggest issue isn't really so much the traversing part, but is more of how to control the creature to get it to do what it needs to do. Because again, you yourself cannot actually fight. You're basically to guide the creature where it needs to be, what to do, so on and so forth. But to get the creature to do anything, on some occasions, the creature is very intelligent. It's very smart. It knows what it needs to do, and you need to kind of let it go on its own to kind of get to where it needs to be at. It pretty much knows where to go. On other occasions, it feels like it's dumber than a sack of bricks. Just, I don't know what it is, but there were some cases in which I was playing the game where I was so actively frustrated that I was yelling at the thing. I was like, oh, but it's just, I think what it is that the majority of the development and the concentration of the game's functionality is contributed to the creature, because the creature is so well detailed, deep in detail, with fur, feathers, everything you could think about when it comes to the creature itself. It is modeled perfectly. Outside of that perimeter is a little bit chank at times. The boy is chanky. The soldiers are chanky. But the creature itself is so deep and detailed and is able to flow however it needs to flow because of that. Outside of that, it's a little bit rough around the edges. Even the boy has trouble getting around without glitching up half the time. Whether it's to climb through certain obstacles to get barrels or to open up a door or something like that, or to even remotely climb on Trico. And Lord forbid if you had to do that, because if the creature is fighting while you're on him, oh Lord, I'm a little bit scared of how the camera would react half the time, because half the time I was just like looking from a distance and not looking directly as to what was going on half the time, because otherwise I was going to be dizzy, because it's like basically riding a bull at this point. The way the creature pounces and attacks the soldiers and stuff like that is absolutely insane. On occasion, you do get this shield, which you can use to kind of point into the direction of where the enemy is, and then Trico's tail at like a guided laser and just zaps at the enemies and stuff like that, or certain obstacles depending on what it is. And it's just one of those things where it's like, all the stuff is there that it needs to be in order to be good. But I felt like in terms of technical performance, it's slightly worse than what Ico or Shadow of the Colossus is known for. Shadow of the Colossus, for those that don't know, you use your movements and stuff like that in order to scale and climb on the Colossi themselves. And sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's perfect. Other times it can be just as janky as I have described it. But there was like a few moments in the game where it was actually perfect. Other times was like, whenever I saw where I need to go, where I specifically need to go, but the creature wasn't responding how I wanted it to go, and it was just kind of annoying half the time. And it was one of those things too, because there's technically a trophy for beating it under 5 hours. I don't think I can do that. I'm pretty sure that every single time I would try to do that, I would probably be mere seconds close to actually beating it, but because how Trico would react, I don't think I can actually do that. It's far more annoying just trying to get Trico to do something because you know the path that needs to be going, but Trico just kind of doesn't function that way. It's so crazy and it's so weird, I don't know how to describe it. It's just kind of annoying to guide the creature itself. Once the creature knows what it needs to do, it moves just fine. It knows where it needs to go, where it needs to be at, so on and so forth. And really, the story gets suspenseful. It gets really good. It gets really enjoyable, just like how you would normally enjoy Ico or Shadow of the Colossus. You know, if you liked those games, I think you would like The Last Guardian really well. But if you've never played any of those two games, I don't think anyone else would enjoy The Last Guardian as much, I'm afraid. Which is why I'm afraid to say this, but I'm going to have to give The Last Guardian a 3 out of 5. Again, it's a beautiful game, enjoyable, lovable, but because of the jank and what it has to offer, not many people would enjoy this. So I would be very hesitant about saying, would I recommend this to anybody? Not very many unless you have played Ico or Shadow of the Colossus, in which case I would say, yes, I think you would enjoy this. But if you haven't played either of those games, it's probably best not to look into it too deeply and instead just look up YouTube videos of Let's Players and stuff like that and enjoy the ride at the very least, because I don't think players would enjoy it as much as I feel like it was hyped up for. Because I remember years back whenever they first showed off the game itself, people were hyped for this. And I wasn't on it as much. I was interested about it, but I didn't get into it until recently a few weeks ago. So, yeah, it was just one of those things where it's like, I enjoyed the game for what it was, but beyond that, it wasn't better than Shadow of the Colossus, sadly, so. But then again, that's my interpretation of Shadow of the Colossus. What do you expect? So, anyway, guys, let me know in the comments below. Did you play did you play The Last Guardian? Did you play it? Did you enjoy it? Or are you still kind of like a little bit on the fence of like, do you want to play this or not? Again, like I said, look at the visual, look at the footage, and understand the review that I'm giving out and be like, is this something that you'd be interested in? If so, then you can go ahead and pick it up. If not, don't worry about it. So, anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. This is BlackCross signing off. Catch you guys later. You feel better? I'll take that as a yes.